In the beginning, I was very myself. I really was. Although I was unsure of this crazy world that I was in, and I definitely didn't know the rules or how to do it or exactly what I was doing, I was very sure of myself. I knew that I was a young woman. I'm boyish. I'm not trying to be all prissy and girly. I got my piano, I got my songs, I got my braids. Don't try to make me do this. Don't talk to me about that. Don't bring me no flowered dresses and shit. This is me. Take me or leave me. I don't care. And then success came. And I had never been successful before. And everybody was there. And I was going places I'd never been before. And I was meeting people I never met before. And they were telling me things I never heard before. And I was having experiences that I would never have experienced before. And people liked what I did. And so then when it came time to do it again, for the first time in my life, I had been exposed to what it feels like when people like what you do. And then you start to think, well, what if people don't like what I do? Then what? And you don't mean to find yourself in this place where suddenly you care so much about what people think or their approval of you or what they say about you. I mean, God forbid someone said, oh, how Alicia did. And this was even prior, like, crazy social media. I mean, we weren't even in this level of social media. Because damn, I don't know what I would have done. Hit out of a rock. I mean, I might have been... So I feel for people who have to grow up under that level of scrutiny. I've definitely learned that you try to control things too much and you miss the magic. So that's just been an evolution and a process. But I wasn't even ever comfortable with writing in the same room with another person. I wasn't comfortable with, like, it's so vulnerable. It's like, who wants to just bear their entire fears, insecurities, mistakes, in front of people that can look at you and judge you and whatever? It's like, that's super, super scary. So that's why I always wrote alone, is because I just felt more safe there. Every time I write a song, I never know how it happens. And I kind of always want to be like that. Like,
you're a vessel. You're just like, it just comes through you.
Yeah. It like happens and it comes alive and then it's there and it's arrived and then I'm on my knees praying and thanking God. Because some people are very mathematical writers, which is really actually very intriguing.
You mean formula?
Yeah. They're like, the cadence should follow this flow, and they can kind of break down psychologically how a human being will receive that. It'll make them feel more comfortable if the cadence is completed. And some people like straight up write pop records, like, under a formula, which is unbelievable. I actually excited to kind of study that just because I was so interested, because it's so opposite from me. Most of the time I'll sit at the piano and I'll play kind of what I feel like, and maybe that'll lead to a melody, maybe that'll lead to a phrase, a word. There's like a feeling, or I went through whatever I went through and I feel what I feel, and I have this emotion that I know it wants to express itself, whatever it is. Somewhere between the emotion, the idea, the feeling, the conversation, and the end product, I have no idea what happens. Sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes it happens in one sitting and I'm leaving here in 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes 6 months.
In terms of what the process is for Alicia, there's no rules at the end of the day. She records vocals in many different scenarios. Sometimes she's sitting behind her piano and playing and singing at the same time, and I have to make sure I capture both cleanly. And a lot of times there's an emotion and a tone when you mold the two together that you don't get when you sing separately, where she has a way of being able to articulate emotionally as she's playing. So it's very important sometimes for her to be able to sing and play at the same time. And then we have songs that we chop up and we record, over 2 or 3 years. We're changing vocals and evolving them. So, we record our verses and our hooks and our B sections and our bridges, and we comp. If she's working on the song the first day, a lot of the time, those vocals are never used, even if she does 10 or 15 takes, because she's still learning the song. And as you live with it, the song evolves and the emotion evolves and the vocal performance evolves, because you can feel like you can do a better take because you learned it better. And then there's other songs where it's just one take and that's it. because that's the magic that she's captured in that one take that she feels can never be outdone.
Without question, I don't think there's a soul on the planet that hasn't been told in some way or another that they're not gonna make it or they can't do that. Why would you try to do that? You ain't gonna do that. Why would you try to do music? You know, only 1% of ever. Well, how long is it gonna take you to put that out? It doesn't seem like anything's popping for you. You know, women don't really get into that field. You probably shouldn't waste your time there. Whatever the case, our ancestors who had to deal with so much and be told no so many times, but did that stop us from evolving and getting to where we are? No. I am still a tomboy, and I was this, tomboy with braids and who wore leather jackets and Timberlands and played the piano, and that's who I was, and that's who I still am. And they just didn't understand it. They were like, well, can't you wear the dresses, and can't you look like a little more like this or act a little bit more like this? And I remember being really adamant. I was like, no, because that's not me, So no, I don't want to be that person. There's enough of those people. Why don't you go with all those other hundreds of people that are like that? I want to be, this girl who is underrepresented,
I mean, to tell these people who've been in the industry for such a long time, no, I'm going to manage my own image, what you're going to put out there. Where did that come from?
I think it's just straight ignorance. Which is great.
Going to see what happens if you say no.
No, I just think I didn't have any idea of what the other option was. To me, I wasn't playing a game. It's not until you're in the game that you realize there is a game.
Right.
And at that time I didn't know there was a game. All I knew was that here I was, and I knew who I was, and that's what I knew. So in a way, that was so good for me. And that was kind of that New York attitude that just, you say what you mean what you say. And I think that served me well. And once you recognize the game, then you're going to choose to play it or not play it. I've always been really dedicated and really just focused on the things that I want. So I think I had a certain idea of what it takes to be diligent, and I'm not afraid to work hard. So I think that helped me out a lot. Plus, my mother raised me on her own. She worked hours and hours and hours, would come home for 3 hours and sleep really quick and get back up. That's what I was raised on. So I think those are things that I saw, and that helped me just remain driven. I had been in groups since I was about 9, and in this one particular group I was in, started it myself with my friends and that kind of thing. We went to school together, and we would all go to my house and kind of play or jam or write, or there would be people that were interested in different musical things, maybe producers, we would write to their tracks or whatever, anything to be kind of involved in music. And so through that group, we used to rehearse all the time at this kind of community center in Harlem, and every day after school, we were just focused and dedicated. But through that group is where I met my manager, and my manager was the one that pretty much said, you're supposed to be a solo artist, and I was like, not me. I was like, nah, I love harmonies. I love the textures. I want to look left and right and see people I know. Who wants to be on stage alone? Not me. So that was kind of how it started. And from there, the group didn't work out, and things, changed. And I got with my manager, and he started to really showcase me as a solo artist, as a pianist, as a musician, as a songwriter, as a package, and that's kind of how it started. Be aware of the illusions, because there's a lot of illusions that are shown to us and given to us just as human beings. And we're not even talking about writing songs or being an artist or not being an artist. As human beings, there's these illusions. There are things that are true, and there are things that are untrue, and there are things that are real, and there are things that are unreal. And I think in this world, we tend to live in a room full of illusions, of things that really aren't deepening you as a human being. It's like very superficial. It's very like on the surface layer. It's very shallow. It's very, you know, just what you can see, as opposed to encouraging us to go deeper into our inner, you know, what's inside of you. To your point, how do we know who we are? How will we ever know who we are if we never are able to go deeper inside of ourselves and say like, that doesn't feel good. Why doesn't that feel good? That does feel good. Why does that? You know what I mean? Because we have so many things that we learn, to your point, from other people. And then we call that our truth. Well, that's how I feel because someone told me they felt like that. And I then, damn, which one is my truth? So I think that's another thing that I've been receiving a lot more, and wanting to just be more in touch with that ping, that like zing, that zing thing. You know it when you feel it, and you know it when you don't feel it. You know when it's not that feeling, and you know when it is that feeling. And what does that mean, and where does it come from? Girl on Fire is definitely ill. It came from this interview that I did. I was reading it, and she said something like, she's like a girl on fire. And I was like, It's like, I love that. We were in the studio one day and I was working with Jeff Basker and Salam Remy. I was like, you know, I've been wanting to write this song called Girl on Fire. I'm like, what does Girl on Fire sound like? Somehow we start kind of tossing around these ideas and thoughts, and these different sounds come out and these different things come out. Eventually we came to the chords that are Girl on Fire. And I guess you'd want me to play the chords. So the chords are like, you know, pretty, you know, that ain't the chord. There go the chord. So you know, it's like, she's just a girl and she's on fire. So anyway, those are the chords, right? So the CP70's on it too. It's like a different kind of, a little bit twangier type of sound. Hotter than a fantasy. There go the damn chord again. Lonely like a highway. We started going through all these different crazy drums, and then there was like these loud, obnoxious, just destructive drums. I was like, yes, a Girl on Fire is loud and obnoxious and destructive and like free, you know what I mean? So I was like, that's what a Girl on Fire sounds like. And then we just went into the room. I just had a mic set up like over here. And it's just flowing. It's like one of these crazy moments that everything's just flowing, which like sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't happen. But this moment, everything was just magic. We sat down on the couch, we start writing some lyrics down, and I'm like, she's just a girl and she's on fire, higher than a fantasy, hotter than a fan, lonely like a highway. It's just flowing, boom, boom, boom. Then we go in again, and I just sing it again from top to bottom, and I don't know what happened, but it was like an explosion of like magic fairy dust that came down, and that's basically what happens sometimes with songs, but it's very rare.
We started the foundation on Diary, but As I Am was like, let's break every rule, let's
Bong, bong, bong.
yeah, let's do things that they said could never be done before, like let's make a guitar sound out of our whirly or our Moog by putting it through a guitar pedal, by putting it through a distortion pedal and an amplifier. We just tried to really paint the sonic picture.
For me, I do more tend to like to use what I'm used to because I feel comfortable, and then I feel like I can just flow in it and I don't have to like worry about the newness. But you push me to start to like learn new patterns.
Right. I think what's important too is we carve out time to bring in a Dave Smith in between albums to learn. And I always bring one or two pieces of gear in at a time or a plug-in at a time. We've been learning virtual since 2006, before anyone else really knew what they were. We built our own piano plug-in together. Yes. We're one of the only artists that actually have their own plugins. And I feel like this is a playground that we have 24/7.
There's a special elixir that if I ever am about to lose my voice, which happens like in the middle of a show, and I've been singing and nights after nights, and all of a sudden, boom, I get to this place, I'm like, I can't hit the notes anymore. I'm gonna need something. You bring in the gummy bears. Believe it or not, you take these gummy bears and you throw them in the tea. Ow. And you melt them. And it takes a minute, it has to be super hot, and you stir it and you melt it and it becomes gummy bear tea. And it's something about the glycerin in the gummy bears, the sugar that does this magic thing. And I'm telling you, I have been at shows where I cannot sing another note. I make the gummy bear tea and I am ready to rock. So I just gave you my deepest, coolest secret. Gummy bears.